I'm allowed a coffee. Hello, welcome to Love Day Bakes. This is the place where I will be experimenting all the little ideas that come into my head. Some might work, some might not. But hey, you're all along for the ride. Growing up, we had a Bramley apple tree in our garden, which meant apple-themed desserts. We'd have them every single, at least Sunday. We'd have a crumble. My personal favourite was the turnover. Epic. That was my favourite dessert, but I wanted to take it up a notch. I was thinking, what are the best parts of those apple desserts that I loved? Obviously the apple compote, the flaky pastry, the custard, and I've got to say I do love a caramel, salted caramel. So my idea is this. What if you make an apple turnover, but as well as the apple compote, you also have a custard in there? So when you bite into the pastry, you get an explosion of that creamy with the tart, the fruit, and that's what I want. And I want it to be a salted caramel creme pat. That's what we're making today. To begin with, we've got to get our puff made. The way I like to make my puff is the way most people make their puff. You make your base pastry, get your butter, and we're going to laminate. We're going to do 5 turns. So I like symmetry. I like the symmetry of odd numbers. It means we're going to do a single, a double, a single in our folds. It's quick, simple. I feel like that's the perfect amount of turns that you need for this sort of lamination, this sort of pastry in this context for the turnover. The night before, I did a little Blue Peter moment. It's the night before, and we're making the base pastry. The de trump, if you're French, which I am not, so I've said that wrong. It's literally water, flour, salt. I'm gonna put a little bit of honey in there and butter, which I'm melting for the ease of time. Get the dust out of your mixing bowl. Okay, Sainsbury's finest plain flour. I would use usually bread flour for this, but you can't always get what you want. And hey, maybe I forgot to get some. Quick maths. That was this much. So, flour, salt. I'll measure the salt in this. Salt is gonna give you a good flavor in your dough. And you don't want pastry that tastes like nothing. It's bland, because that's sad. I want you to try putting a little bit of honey in, because you're gonna be making something savory. You don't particularly want sweetness in your pastry, but I would put a little bit of sugar in my pastry because I'm making it sweet. But I thought, let's try and put a little bit of honey. Let's go crazy. 30 grams, that feels right. What I really should do right now is melt my butter so it's not boiling hot. I'm gonna melt my butter. I need half of 125 grams, which is 50, 10, 2.5, 50, 60, 62.5, 63, that's fine. While that's in the microwave, we can weigh our water. I'm doing this so calm now. The last time I made puff pastry, it wasn't so calm, and trying not to get flashbacks of that. So we're gonna do everything very peacefully, very calm, controlled. Everything's fine. Yep, I'm just checking my numbers. I don't need this butter anymore. No, that can live in the butter. There we go. So, just move that out of the way. The way that I like to mix my ingredients together to start is I go in with my hand, because the machine isn't going to get all the scraps down to the bottom, so I like to start it off. So I mix in the salt into the flour. Very technical. This is the best whisk you could ever get. You could ever dream of having. It just gets right in there. Okay, water, honey, boom, butter in. Easy, so quick, so simple. And then your hand and just the dough hook. Just make sure you get all of the dry bits until it starts clumping together. So once you're at like that stage where it's starting to pick up, clump together, you want to stick it in to your stand mixer. Okay, plug it in. Plug it in first, that would help. Okay, stand mixer on. We want it on low speed. I'm sorry about the noise that this makes. It's very old. So you just want to, so you don't want to overwork this dough because you're going to be developing too much gluten. This is one of the reasons why I like to do it the night before, because your gluten's gonna completely relax, and because you're chilling it in the fridge, it will be the same temperature as your butter when you're starting your lamination, which will make the whole process so much easier. So you just want to knead it. You do want a smooth, tight dough though. You don't want to under knead it at the same time. So you want to give it a little bit of a push. You want to get all your ingredients nicely mixed, and you want a nice smooth dough. So we'll let that knead for a little bit. While that's kneading, let's pound our butter, shall we? If you're working in a commercial kitchen, which I do, if you have access to, you can get sheets of butter. You can get butter already in sheets. However, did I have the foresight to do that? No, because hey, it's a spur of the moment thing. Oh, we're here for a fun time. Who says you need to plan things in advance? Not me. Hey, not me. Put it in the thing. We're gonna make it into a sheet ourselves, so that's fine. So just cut your butter up so it's a little easier, and then fold your paper. Boom. Let's have a check of our dough real quick. So it's coming together into a nice smooth. You don't want to overwork it. Fuck that out of the way. Just want it to be a nice smooth dough. It's a very satisfying dough. It's very soft. You just finish kneading it with your hand. So you bring it together into a smooth ball. Cleans the bowl for you. What? No, I know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, I'm doing it right. Okay, I doubt myself now. I have serious doubts about puff pastry now. So, dough in a ball. It's nice and soft. It's not over kneaded, and it's smooth. You've got no dry patches, and you've got it in a nice tight ball. Done. It's that simple. That's all we need to do. Okay, we're just gonna wrap it up overnight. Just let it chill. Done. Let's finish our butter. So we want to get the butter into a nice thin sheet. Rolling pin. Not much of a science. You can get a lot of rage out doing this. Flip into little corners. I like to do quite a fairly thin sheet, like when if I'm using a laminating machine, I like to roll my butter quite thin because I find it easier to work with. Once you've got a nice sheet, it's equal in thickness throughout. It's nice and malleable. Don't do that actually. Nice and malleable. We've done our prep. The night before prep, we've blue peated it, and I've made my pastry. It's nice and malleable, and it's going to be the same temperature as our dough, which is the important part. So we can get started on lamination. Okay, to lock in your butter into your pastry, we've got to roll it so it's basically twice the size of this. So we can fold it over, and we're making sure we're keeping an equal thickness of the pastry to the butter. So the best way I do that is I start with a round, and then you score an X into your pastry, which means you get your hands in, take these bits out, open it like a lotus flower, and then it's a bit of a janky one, but I call that a square. Boom. So now we're just going to be rolling it out. Get your rolling pin. So I can show you the way that I was taught to make pastry. Just with your hands. The way I was taught by YouTube videos and Instagram reels. That, and now we just got to roll it so it's long enough we can fold. So you basically just want again. The thing with pastry is you're working with gluten. And gluten, if you work it too much, it starts to pull back, which just means you need to rest your pastry, which is why you have to have resting time between turns and all your folds. But in that time, we can be making all of our fillings, so there's no problem. There's no problem. It's exciting. So we can check. See, oh, maybe not. Okay, we're almost there. See, the pastry springs back a lot, so you're like, oh, I think I'm ready. No, you're not. Surprise, you're not as good at puff pastry as you thought you were. They're the voices in my head coming out. Okay, yes! Now, we need a pastry brush to dust away any excess flour during this process. Make sure it's not wet. It was a little bit wet. That's okay. You make sure your butter's nice and malleable. It's got a bend to it. I would never feed paper to anyone. Just my family. They'll forgive me. Oh, so satisfying. Now, again, this is just the way that I taught myself to do it. I come from the school of make it up as you go along. My dad is a class A bullshitter, and I learnt that from him. And then you're like, I got this, and you just kind of figure it out yourself. You figure out what works for you. And hey, that's life. And it works. And it works. Okay, so your butter is in your pastry. You don't want to just start rolling it out willy-nilly. You want to press so you're not like pushing your butter out. You want them to become one. How would they even know? 1 second. I could get a tie back. Much better and much more professional, let's be honest. Oh, see, look at this. Butter's cracked a little bit. This happens. We're all human. These things happen. Just keep rolling. One little bit of broken butter does not a bad pastry make. The pastry doctor. See? Oh wow. No one even notices that. It's fine. We've got a couple little, these guys, little air pockets. You know how I deal with them? Stab. You could do this with a tiny little needle. That's probably what you should do. But I just grabbed the first pointy object I had next to me, which was this giant knife. If you could remember, I said we're going to do 2 single folds and then 1 double. So the first one we're going to be doing is single. Make sure your pastry, you always want to run your hands underneath. Make sure it's not sticking to the surface. You got your pastry to a nice equal thickness. Let's flip her around. Our first turn. Take your knife and just trim any of those bits at the end, because that's literally just dough. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Just get rid of it. Make it nice and straight and even. And then a single turn. Try not to get loads of water on your pastry. Single turn, you fold once over itself. Brush away your flour, and then you fold that over that. And there's 1 turn. That's a single turn. I'll show you a book fold, but I'll do the rest off camera, because you know what you're doing, it's fine. Just thought about it a little bit, and I realised my maths skills could do some work. So I definitely said I'm doing 5 turns and then explained to doing only 4. But hey, just means we've got to sneak in another single, which is no problem. I will do that at the end. But right now, I will show you how to do the book fold, the only other fold you need to know. Okay, so the dough's had 1 fold. You want to always keep the spine of your dough. I keep it on my left, but you can keep it on your right, depending on what hands you are. Just remember that when you are turning your dough, it's got to always, you don't want to fold that in. Again, you want to fold it like that. Make sense? All right, let's go. Sure. Because you're giving your dough some time to rest. It's not going to like spring back at you, but you don't want to chill it for too long between turns. It all depends on your butter and your dough temperature. You're going to know that. I don't know that. I'm not with you. I'm not in your kitchen, okay? I live in the UK. It's cold in here. The butter is not getting too warm, which means I don't need to leave it in the fridge for very long, because I know that my butter is the right temperature to fold. I feel like everywhere's warmer than here. So, our second fold, this counts as 2 folds. It's called the book fold. So, because I'm folding this way, make sure your spine is on this side. It's nice and long. She's long. I'm gonna flip it. We're gonna roll this way. Trim. I just like to trim my end. Look. So you fold one in, fold the other one in. Hey, it's just like a book. Oh, and now I got its name. And then you fold that like that. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that needs, so what you could do is boo, boo, boo. That's had 3. You could do one more book fold, which actually I might do because I'm feeling lazy. Or you could do 2 more single folds. It's up to you. The single folds will look better. If you have more time, do that. But if you're in a rush, hey, book turns for the win. No one's gonna know. It's fine. All right, now rest. Let's move all our flowers to the side. That's not very good. Picture of health right now, it's fine. Flowers everywhere. Okay, let's make our caramel. My idea is, the way I've seen people do creme brulee before is you make a caramel, you blend that to a powder, and then you sprinkle that on top, and that's what you use to brulee. I was thinking, in the Sanders family, we would sprinkle demerara sugar over our turnovers, and you get that nice crunch of sugar on the top. The plan is, make a caramel, blend it to a powder. That's what we're going to sprinkle over the top right at the end of cooking, so that we'll get a nice glaze of caramel. That's the plan. So, we're going to make the caramel now. In the same pan that we're going to make the caramel for the creme pat, because it's just fucking caramel, isn't it? So, make a dry caramel. Okay, are you watching me? So, we've got golden caster sugar here. You can use granulated. This is just the sugar that I have. So, you just want to sprinkle. I do dry caramels because you can kind of move it around a bit more. A dry caramel is when you are making your caramel without water. That's a wet caramel, this is dry. So, because we're not adding any water to our sugar, it means it's less likely to crystallize, which means I can stir it around as much as I want. Like a medium heat, I'm going for 6, whatever that means. And so you can also use the pan to stir. If you've got a large amount of sugar and a not very big pan, you want to put it in stages. So you want a thin coating of the sugar on the base of the pan, and once you see it start to melt and caramelize, then you add more of your sugar in. So you're like caramelizing it in layers. That's it, it could take a little while. I'll let you know when it's starting. Quick. So you take your eye on it a second, boom, you got caramel. You see it's starting to caramelize. I've got all the sugar left. Oh no, what do I do? Just put it in. And because it's a dry caramel, we can stir it. What? I've purchased something from Manscaped. I think I'm being scammed. So you want to stir that sugar in. You see it dissolving? Next. I like quite a dark caramel. Take it quite far. It's nice to have the bitterness to balance out. I was taught by a Taiwanese woman, not too sweet is the highest compliment you can get from a Taiwanese lady. Maybe 6 is too hot. Hey, okay, it's ready. Shit, I should have had something ready for this. Panic! So we've got a nice amount of caramel. Now, same pan. You take the sugar we measured, just do that again with the sugar for the creme pat. I'm gonna put it on 5 though this time. Everything's fine. We've got to heat up our milk before we put it into the caramel. Otherwise, your caramel will seize and clump. And also, it's going to just like hiss at you, spit. Powers of the microwave. What would you do without it, eh? It's like mega heated liquid. And if you like microwave your water for your tea in the microwave, if you heat up your water, if you boil your water in the microwave, the surface tension of the water doesn't break, and so that you got all these bubbles under the surface, so when you drop your tea bag in, it explodes. It's fucking mental. Google it.
Try it.
No! We should not try it. Wow. Very technical, I know. Making sure my milk doesn't explode in the microwave. Okay.
You don't want to hydro heat.
Final. I don't want to hydro heat my milk. That's definitely not what it's called. Okay, final turn. Now we're gonna rest this while we make shit. Don't burn your sugar. No, it's not, it's fine. It's definitely dark though. Do you think it's burnt? No, I think it'll be fine. Milk in. Watch out for steam, do not burn yourself, do a little bit at a time. Melt your caramel into your milk. I'm just gonna set it on a really low heat. Because we heated our milk, there's not so much, but there will be like some little clumps of caramel that just need to dissolve back into your milk. So leave that on a little heat and just keep stirring it. My pastry is ready. I'm just going to chill it in the fridge. See the layers? Can you see? There are layers. This is a recipe I got from my first job. It's not called stealing because I'm giving her credit. Thank you, Fang from Sugarcane Studios. You taught me not to make things too sweet. You taught me a lot. So, creme pat. We all know how to make a creme pat. No, we don't. Okay, creme pat. So, you want your yolks in. I'm not making a big batch, so this is the equivalent of 2 yolks, 40 grams. How do you remember that? You remember it by regular egg is 50 grams. 20 of that is the yolk, 30 of that is the white. That's how I remember it.
You love eggs.
I love eggs. I have to say I do love eggs. Okay, turn that off. What a mess I am today. So, into your yolk, we're gonna add some corn flour. Creme pat. Essentially it's custard, what we're making. You take your yolk, we're gonna put some corn flour in, which is going to help basically not splitting it. It also thickens the mixture, so it's going to be pipeable. And we're also putting flour in as well. The thing is, when you put in flour and corn flour into your creme pat, you've got to make sure you cook it out enough that you're not going to get the raw flour flavour, because there's nothing worse than raw flour in your creme pat. Also, it'll make you sick. I'm already sick. Okay, using our little whisk from before, I'm just gonna try to make sure there's no lumps in there. Make quite a thick paste. Not gonna have any sugar in. Traditionally, you'd also put your sugar in here, which does help loosen it a little bit. But because we're making a caramel, it's all already in the milk. Why is it like that? It's like the milk is like curdled. It's fine, we're gonna go with it. So you want to do a little at a time into your yolk mixture. God, I'm splatting it all over myself. Things are not right about this. I don't know why it's done. It's okay. I think it's just because it's whole milk, okay? I don't usually use whole milk, but we're using whole milk, so I think it's done this. Don't listen to the noise. It's fine. It might not be fine. We're gonna go with it. It's okay. Don't know why there's weird lumps. Don't panic. I'm switching to a bigger whisk. More power. It tastes delicious. I think it's just sometimes milk does that when you heat it up. This whisk is so broken. Partially cleaned pan, there's still some caramel on it, but it's okay. That's fine. No one's gonna judge you for that. See, I'm teaching you also how to troubleshoot. If you're thinking, ooh, it's a lot of strange lumps in my creme pat. It's okay. You just did it before. Fuck! Okay, take 2. You say, oh, I'm just gonna sieve out those lumps. It's fine, just sieve them. Everything's fine. But you wanna make sure you sieve it before you cook it out, because it's gonna turn into a very thick paste and there's no sieve in that. You could immersion blend it, which I'll be honest, I've done before. I have blended my problems away and it's worked. Get rid of any weird lumps. There are a lot of lumps. Don't know what happened. Anyone knows why? No, it's fine. See, this is the thing. I'm trying things out. Things might not work. Oh wow, that's so smooth and delicious and not lumpy at all. Now, back onto the heat. I'm gonna cook this to a thick paste. You wanna make sure you have a whisk that can get into all corners of your pan. Over a medium heat, we're gonna do 6 again. I have cooked out my creme pat on the stove. Now, while it's still hot, we're gonna melt some butter into it. Quite a lot of butter. It's like almost like a cream than a creme pat this. It's got a delightful mouthfeel. You need a lot of butter in your caramel. So I should probably cut this with a knife. But it's soft enough that I can just kind of tear it apart with my hands. It's fine. As this is a salted caramel, we obviously need to add salt. I like to measure with my heart, so we're just going to start with that, and then we're going to taste it, and we'll see if it needs more. I mean, fuck, I like salt. Just gonna whisk this in. You could immersion blend it now, but what I like to do is I like to whisk this all together, chill it. I'm gonna chill it in a sheet with some cling film on it, and then we're gonna blend it right before we pipe it in. See, it's a nice thick creme pap, which is what we like. Give that a try, see if it needs any more salt. And I'm gonna put a little pinch more salt in, just a little bit more, a little bit. Put that out onto a sheet, something flat that you can spread it fairly thin, just so it cools down faster, basically. Thinking as we go, thinking on our feet, we're thinking, hey, I'm thinking that might be a little too dense. I might want a little lighter, a little more custard-like. So, I could try folding some double cream, whipped cream into it. We'll see. Let's chill this. In the meantime, we'll make our apple filling. Now, we're on to our filling. Now we're making our apple filling. So we're gonna be using Brownlee apples, which are a bit more acidic than your eating apple, like Pink Lady or Granny Smith. And they've got better texture for cooking, I find, because they kind of like soften really nicely when they cook. They can't crumble away to mush, which is what we made this applesauce out of. And this is applesauce that we kept in the freezer. As I said, we have an apple tree in our garden. And when you've got a flurry of apples, you don't know what to do. You can just cook them into an applesauce and put them in your freezer. You can use that in vegan baking as an egg replacement, or obviously use it in a crumble or apple turnovers as we see here. And the way I cook that, it's really simple. Peel and chop, dice your apples, and then add some lemon juice so that they don't oxidize. That's why it's a nice color there, it's not brown. And then you cook that in a pan with a little bit of water and a cartouche, which is a piece of paper cut into a circle. Works like a lid, it keeps all the steam trapped so they can cook nice and evenly in their own moisture and it won't just dry up and burn on the bottom of the pan. That's how I made that, but it's completely unsweetened, so we need to sweeten it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna dice our apples through that, so we've got a nice pureed apple texture, and then you've also got the bite from an apple chunk in there as well. So just prepare your apples. These are quite nice apples as well. Usually, the apples of my childhood, the windfalls, as my mum likes to call them, they were full of maggots and worms and bruises. So by the time you've cut away all of the gross parts, you have about a 1 centimetre cube of apple left. But hey, she's a mother of 4, okay? There's no wastage in this household. Okay, Mum, when you made apple turnovers when we were kids, would you cook the apples in the filling?
I would, but I would make sure that there were some chunky bits of apple because it helps keep the pastry up.
See, should be taking what Mama said, but I'm doing it slightly differently. So, I'm going to have chunks of apple, but I'm folding it into compote. I'm going to lightly cook the apple, so it's like starting the process, but it's not fully cooked.
Because it will cook in the oven with the pastry.
Exactly, see? Okay, confirmation. Good. Now that you've got your apples all prepped, I'm just going to dice them into even-sized cubes and cook them lightly. So we don't want them to break down really. I just want to kind of start the cooking process because I don't want a raw chunk of apple when you bite into your turnover. Because they're quite small, it's not like an apple crumble where you're cooking it for a long amount of time. So we've got all our apple diced up nicely. This seasoning, do you call it seasoning? Spices. To this that we're going to add, we're going to zest a whole lemon for that zing, a nice citrus zing. I find it cuts through, adds a warmth, a citrusy warmth, it adds a lightness. Sure. Okay, not a lemon genius, okay. The juice of that lemon as well, add that in. This is when you find out if you have any cuts on your hands. Wash my hands. Also going to add a little bit of butter, and the spices I'm going to be using is ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg. So, nutmeg, it's a very comforting spice. If you get it whole, all you have to do is just microplane it in. I'm not really measuring anything, I'll be honest, I'm just going with my heart. You measure with your heart. Nutmeg is quite strong, so you just kind of want it in the background. Then cinnamon. Cinnamon is the star of the show, so you want quite a lot. that much. We're gonna taste, and we can add as we go. Remember, you can add, can't subtract. Ginger, which is my favorite spice. Then we're gonna add dark brown sugar. I say usually for fruits, I aim for anywhere from 10 to 25% of the weight of the fruits. But honestly, I find you just add a bit, you try it, and then you're like, oh, needs a bit more, add some more. Now we're gonna cook this on a pan, very gently, just to kind of melt the sugar, melt the butter, start the cooking, and then we'll add our compote in, and it should be ready to go. I've cooked down our apples, so you see all these juices have started to release from them. That's also the butter, the sugar, it's all goodness. They've still got a bite to them, but they've just started to cook down, especially the smaller pieces are getting nice and soft. I'm gonna leave them with a bite to them, so hopefully by the time they're fully cooked, the apple will be cooked, but it'll still hold its shape. That's the plan. So now I'm gonna put my compote in, which will give that effect that I always would enjoy when I was a kid. That also adding that compote in, that's going to take all of that excess liquid, and it's gonna kind of almost help to thicken that. So you're not gonna have a watery filling in your turnover. And there's nothing worse than a watery filling, let me tell you. Let's give this a try. Make sure we're happy with the seasoning and the flavor, if it's sweet enough, basically. I don't like to use the word perfect a lot, because nobody's perfect, but that is pretty perfect, I think. Now, we'll transfer this back to a bowl and chill it while we roll out our pastry. It is time to roll out our pastry. It's nicely chilled. We're going to be cutting rounds out of our pastry, so there will be some scraps left, but I do have something to show everyone what you can do with your puff pastry scraps, which is actually probably what I'm more excited about than the turnover, I'll be honest. What I'm going to do is, just so you're not like working all your pastry at the same time, not getting it all too warm, I'm going to roll it to a certain size, and I'm going to cut it in half, keep half in the fridge while I'm working with the other half of pastry. I like to cut all of my rounds, keep them chilled, and then be filling them. Got my pastry rolled a bit, and I'm just gonna cut that in half and just keep half in the fridge while you're working the other. So we want to roll this to the thickness of a £1 coin. Now, if you're not from the UK, I'd say that is 3 millimeters thick, roughly, like that. Wait, Americans have coins. A dime. This shirt is going to be like covered in flowers. I'm just a doctor. I'm just a pastry doctor. Okay, we're getting there. You know what? We might go a little thinner than £1. Now I'm thinking about it. Like, yeah, like a 50p. A trick, if you're rolling one way and not moving it at all, the gluten obviously is going to be pulling back. So if I'm rolling this way and I'm like, fuck, gluten, turn it around, roll the other direction, and it'll work for you. You're tricking the gluten's going, what the hell? I thought I was going the other way. So I'm pretty happy with that thickness. We're gonna let it sort of rest a little bit, and I'm gonna give it another once over, because I know it is gonna spring back slightly. Just gonna get a little once over with the pen. I found a bowl. I'm happy with this size. I think because we're folding it, it's gonna be half that size. This knife feels a little ridiculous for this job. Little knife, I'm just gonna cut around your vessel. Now, if you wanted to save time and have less wastage of the pastry, you could just cut them into squares and make triangles, which is what we did when we were kids. But I want to be fancy. Fair thickness, because we want them to puff. So just cut. I'd say you'll get 12 out of this recipe. Okay. We have 6. Now, you're like, oh, what a waste. Look at all that pastry. Fear not. What you do is, you want to fold it on top of each other. So you don't want to smush it into a ball. You want to make sure you're keeping those layers fold, like so. So you're maintaining layers. So you're still stacking it all on top of each other. We will come back to this. Trust me, it's not going to go to waste. Now it's time to start building. The trick to a good apple turnover is not to overfill. As a child, that is something that we would do because you get excited, you want the most apple filling, and hey, you can't put that much apple filling in, it will just piss out and then they look ugly. But the thing is, this is what made me think of putting the custard, because there's always a gap. After you bake them, there's always a little pocket where you're like, hey, I could have put some extra apple in there, what the hell? But we're gonna be filling out with custard. I'm just gonna roll these. They've been chilling in the fridge a little bit, so I'm just gonna give them a little roll to round them up again, and we're gonna dot them on the tray, because remember we're folding them. We just really need half the space. Where the gluten's been a bit tighter, they've shrunk in a little bit. So you just want to give them a little roll. We're going to be using an ice cream scoop to measure out equally. So it means that I can't sneak any more filling into them, okay? Because I will try. This is how much. This is, I'd say, that is like 2 tablespoons. I want maximum apple. Okay, there we go, boom. In the middle, like that. And then you take a little bit of water, and you just want to brush around the edge. You're probably thinking, Harriet, that's not enough filling. Hey, I'm thinking the exact same thing. But once it bakes, you'll see that that's almost, that might be too much. No, it's fine, I'll make it work. I literally just said not to do this. And then smush, smush, smush. Just want to match your join. Using that little bit of water will help the pastry to stick. That might be a bit too much filling, okay? Okay, we live and we learn. It's my childlike wonder. I wanted to put more filling in. Hey, you're not allowed that much filling. Do less. Do about that much. Just try and wipe away all the filling that's leaked. So, there we go. See, oh my god. Perfect. Perfect amount. Try and make sure there's no air in there. And repeat. Don't film that. I've made way too much filling. Yes, we can. Let's crumble with the rest. They're cute. I'm not sorry. Now they're all filled, they're going to chill in the fridge for at least like half an hour, so the pastry is nice and cold before you bake it, so you get proper rise. So now we're going to blend our caramel that we made earlier. I hope this works. In my mind, it's going to work real good. This is going to be loud. Maybe a little bit more. I'm going to breathe that in. I think it's mostly in a fine enough powder. Oh, I mean, that is like gold dust. Now that our creme pat has cooled down, you can see it's thickened up quite a lot. So I would like to blend it to get it to be nice and smooth and silky. You're gonna go in and scrape down the sides. When you also blend it like this, you're also sort of whipping it in a way, which adds some air to it, makes it slightly lighter. Like you can see that the color is getting slightly lighter as you're blending it. Oh yes. Oh yes. It's starting to split. Shit. Okay, there's been a slight problem. The creme pat's started to split. I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing that. It's never done it before. So I'm going to try blending it with an immersion blender, hoping for the best. It tastes really good though. Might make it worse, might make it better. Hey. I think it's making it worse. Oh! I might try heating it up again. Okay, it is working. I think it's butter. It's like gotten too cold and it's like split out of the creme pat. Nobody panic. Hey now. Fixed it, haven't I?
And you didn't panic not even once?
Don't panic. No, not even once. Life's all about making mistakes and then figuring out how to fix them. And that's how we learn. We learn, hey, don't get the thing really cold and then whip the butter out of it. Don't do that. And nobody panicked.
Nobody overreacted.
Nobody overreacted. Because we all knew it was going to be fine. That's not split. I don't think we need to fold it into cream. That's ready to pipe into our pastries once they're done. Such an easy thing to make. Wow. We need an egg wash. I'm just gonna use liquid yolks and a little bit of milk. Not fucking using that milk, say that much. Hey, it's fine, it's fine, that much. To do the scoring on the top, got a very sharp blade, little scalpel blade, that we're going to use to create like a shell-like pattern effect on the top of the pastries. Tell you what I want to do, I want to recut the edge. We've come to the age-old question, to crimp or not to crimp. I'm thinking I want to try doing half and half to see what the effect would be like, because on one half I want them to like kind of, I want to see the puff, I want to see all the layers go like that, but then also I don't want all the filling to just piss out everywhere. What we're going to try, I'm going to try trimming some of them, and then another ones we're going to try putting a nice crimp, like almost like a pasty. That's the plan. Sharp blade. Maybe this wasn't the right choice. So half of them get a trim. Hey, all you can do is try. I've trimmed the edges of those ones. Fork these guys. Forking hell. This is the way that we would always do them with my kids. It looks so darn cute. So, half crimped, half not crimped for our experiment. Now we just need to give them an egg wash. You want to make sure you're not going to get it on the edges of the pastry where you want to see the rise. I really don't want them to piss out everywhere. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm scoring the tops of these, you want to do a layer of egg wash and kind of let it set, so that when I score into it, the egg wash doesn't like bleed into those little slits. We're gonna egg wash them, chill them in the fridge for another 10 minutes, and then they'll be ready to score and be baked. While those are chilling, I'm going to show you what you can do with your scrap pastry. Find out how much you have. To start, I have 433 grams. Let's round that to 430. What we're going to do is we're going to weigh out half the amount of that pastry in sugar. Or is it double? I'm going to go half because 800 grams seems ridiculous. Yes, 215 grams of sugar. Weigh that out. And you're probably not going to need all of the sugar as well. What you want to do is you want to, this is messy, put down some of that sugar. You want to work as much sugar into your pastry as you can. You're essentially using the sugar like flour. So you just want to start rolling, pushing as much of that sugar into your pastry as you can. It's my favorite way to use scrap pastry, and it's the most delicious way. Messy job, but it's worth it. Kind of want to roll it to, I mean, depending on how much pastry you got, I'm going for like this A4 sheet of paper. So you want it quite thin, and you'll see why. Maybe it's a third of the way of the pastry. It feels like a lot. Honestly, just as much sugar as it feels right. Just keep going. See, it's starting to like absorb the sugar. I've done this before where I've flavoured the sugar, so you can maybe put a bit of cinnamon in there, make them like a cinnamon sugar Palmiers, or hey, cardamom, that'd be nice. You can maybe even put some like tea, grind up a tea, put that in, or
Earl Grey.
Yeah, an Earl Grey, that'd be delicious. Maybe some lemon zest. Like, the possibilities are endless, but you have to what you have to think about is something that isn't going to burn. Essentially what you're doing is you're going to be caramelizing this sugar that's in the pastry. I feel like that's all the sugar I'm going to get into there. Pretty happy with that, pretty happy with that. So you've got a bit of a rectangle. We need a big knife. So you want it quite thin, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to fold it onto itself. Using a knife, you want to trim these little scrappy edges, kind of like that. That's basically good enough. And then, so if you've ever seen a Palmiers, it kind of looks like a heart. You're essentially doing like a book fold, but on itself. Like that. And then, you gotta chill it first. Once we get to here, pause. And then we're going to slice them and bake them as like little biscuits. For now, let's cut it down the middle, just so you can see. Okay, so just chill that and we will come back to it. So, right before baking, I'm going to use a scalpel and I'm going to score. So when the pastry bakes, it'll be kind of like a buttery, where you score the top of the pastry to create a pattern. You don't want to go too deep. very gently scoring the surface, just like that. So we're going to do that to all of them. So they're all scored. We just need to create a little air hole. I'll just go in the middle. I do not want them exploding. So you're going to make sure they've got a sufficient, find the chopstick is the best tool for this job. I'm going to bake these at 190, 200-ish. I'll be honest, our oven's a bit jank. So you really just have to kind of guess the temperature it's at. So 190 we're going to check them in 15. Let's see where we're at, but in they go. 15 minutes. 15 minutes is almost up, so we're going to give them a little peek, see how they're doing. If they're starting to get there with cooking, then we can take them out and just put our little finishing gold dust on top of them so it can start to melt whilst they finish cooking. Let's have a little look. Yay! Look at that pastry, yes! So they are getting there. I think I will do the dust now and then give them like 5 more minutes. You can see how shit our oven is as well, very uneven. I quite like how that looks actually, yes. And none of them have spewed their guts. Do you see what just happened? Right, yes, caramel, if it hits moisture, does do that. Okay, I'm also gonna switch the trays in the oven. Something's baking more than others. Yeah. The sieve is a bit wet. Back in. Yes. And we're gonna give them 5 more minutes. So in 5 minutes? Yes. It's baked beautifully. So it's been in for about I'd say 20-25 minutes would probably be your sweet spot. Look at this, they're like got mouths. Just move them. They're gonna be hot. But my hands are fucked. So just move them to the cooling rack so they can cool slightly before we pipe our custard. Watch out for the hot sugar. I recommend you use a palette knife to do this. A little bit of a leakage. That's okay. There's always 1 or 2. Let them cool slightly and then we'll pipe away. Super, super simple. Take the cooled batter and you want to cut them, I'd say about, is that a centimetre, half a centimetre? So you cut them all evenly. The way you lay them on your baking tray is you want to alternate them up and down so that when they bake, they'll open and they'll kind of push each other, keep each other from getting too unwound. We're going to bake these also at 190. Check them after 5 minutes and we're going to flip them, see how they look. Cool. They're getting there. Oh, Palmiers are ready. This is what you will be getting. This beautiful caramelization on the pastry. It's the most incredible thing in the world. When they cool, they get crunchy. Okay, leave them over there. So, to finish our turnovers, I'm just going to use this clever little insertion nozzle to pipe in our creme pat. The smallest piping bag in the world. It'll do its job. I'm going to choose this guy. Go into the side. I don't know how much to do. Should I weigh them? Yeah, I feel like I've learnt my lesson with that. Let's see. Felt like a lot. 9 grams. Okay, maybe more than 9 grams. Let's go for 15 grams. Okay, let's see what 15 grams looks like. I want to make sure there's enough in there. That's 15 grams. That's good. Should we cut it open? I'm too excited to do all the other ones. I want to cut it open. There she is. She's heavy. The moment of truth. Where's all the custard? Fuck! It's all there! So maybe pipe 2 places, but if I press...
It's all coming out the bottom.
Fuck! Okay, I'm gonna take a bite, oh, there it is.
So you got 15 grams of custard all in one half.
It's gonna be a good mouthful. It's a good mouthful. That is, in my opinion, the perfect apple turnover. because it's still warm, it's basically like melted into a caramel sauce, which is pretty epic actually. I might wait till the rest have cooled down to pipe the custard into them and pipe it. Let's go both sides. We've learnt our lesson. We'll go 9 grams both sides.
Smart.
Yeah, but that is a pretty epic pastry. I'd say this is a win. This is a win. Let it cool down first. I was impatient, so it's melted, but it's delicious. I will leave the recipe if you would like to follow along. I will tweak the things that went wrong, so don't worry, it will be easy to follow. And I hope you make it and enjoy it yourself. Get a little taste of my childhood with a twist. If you liked this video, if you can like and subscribe, that would be most appreciated. Or leave a comment in the description. Tell me if you want me to make anything next.
You're being a pastry scientist right now.
It will like spit out. It's one of the best things I've ever made. The flaky pastry.